Hey everybody, so I'm going to bring in Raphael today and answer some questions. I know a lot of people are asking, why do I say she when I refer to the angel Raphael? Traditionally, we think of the angel Raphael as a male. When Raphael came to me in the late 80s, it said it was just a spiral of pure unconditional love that spiraled down and came into our atmosphere or into our realm in a sense to wake us up and to bring love. So that's the answer to that. Other question is, why do I make these toning sounds? I have no idea. When I started to channel, I just started spontaneously making those sounds, and that seems to be how I sort of, as Kelly, transition out of the way and how Raphael comes in through me. Any other questions that people have about that and how I work with Raphael? I wasn't trying to just be a channeler in any way. It just happened, just came through spontaneously. So let's bring Raphael in now and see what he or she has to say. It is our pleasure to be here from the angelic realm and to talk to you about whatever it is you're wanting to talk about. And so, what is it?
Hi, Raphael. Well, before we got interrupted by the phones, you were talking about how in these times where things seem so serious and there's so much going on in the world that it is important for us to just have some levity. And I was wondering if you could talk more on that and how we can do that. And how do we do that without feeling like we're ignoring what is going on here on the planet?
It is important to bring lightness to your being, for you're always talking about sending love and light, right? Well, what about sending love and light to yourself and bringing it into all the cells in your being and lighting yourself up? Well, how can you light yourself up if you're not being light? And lightness is also about lightheartedness and laughter and joy and playfulness. For it is, where has that all gone? There's so much thinking, so much discussing, so much concern and heaviness all the time. And we understand that you are feeling the vibrations on the planet as they are shifting and moving. And we recognize that you are feeling that heaviness. But part of the process here is to rise above that. That's a saying that you have in many of your cultures, to rise above, right? Rise above the hatred, rise above the pain, and rise also above the heaviness and the seriousness. Not that it is not serious of what is occurring on the planet and that it does not need your attention and that you must bring attention to it in order for change to occur. But at the same time, that change cannot happen from that heaviness. For many of your great masters have always said you cannot solve a problem from the same vibration or place in which it was created. And so when you're all speaking all the time about raising, and I talk to you about raising your vibration, that means calibrating the octave of the energy in which you're holding into a lighter realm where you're not in that heavy, dense vibration. And so part of that can just be a willingness to play, to be light, to laugh, even simply right now to put a smile on your face, as sometimes I hear you all talking about. Just start smiling right now. All of you just smile in this moment, and you'll notice you start to feel a little different. And move back into the energy and the vibration and the innocent perception of being a little girl or a little boy, and the playfulness of that, in which the mind is not engaged engaged in the concern or the worry of what will be or what has been, but is truly in the presence of where it is that you are, riding your bike, playing hide and go seek, going down the slides or the swings, playing in the sandbox. You're not playing in the sandbox and thinking about paying your bills or worried about the latest thing that happened on the news. You're fully engaged in feeling the sand and the bucket and the little one next to you and what it is that you're making together and how you're creating it and putting the water in it and feeling the water and then turning the bucket over and seeing if it made a mold or if it collapsed and then building something upon that and the joy of that creation for the purity of it in itself. It isn't anything. It doesn't last. It is not permanent. It's just a sand castle in a sandbox that quickly with the wind or the water falls away into nothingness. And yet you would say, well, what is the purpose of making it? It's just going to wash away or blow away or collapse. It is in the joy of the presence of the moment of being with it, and the playfulness simply of it in itself is enough. You would not say to a child, well, don't bother making that sandcastle. It's just going to fall down anyway. So what's the point? You would say, enjoy, play, engage, feel the senses of being human. For it is that where it is that I am, I cannot feel the sand in my hands. I cannot hear the ocean wave as it comes in to wash it out. I do not feel the wind on my face, for I am not in physicality, nor do I have a body, nor do I have what is so enticing to all of you to come here to earth, to be engaged in the five senses. And to be engaged in the five senses also means immersing yourself in the playfulness of it. So we are encouraging you to lighten up and to play and to perhaps do something that does not have an end result, that does not have a goal, that is not leading to being a better person, that is not leading to getting something done on your to-do list, that is absolutely for the purity of the sake of just engaging in the senses of joy itself, like building a sandcastle. Whatever that sandcastle is equivalent to you, for you. It might be climbing a tree. It may be going for a walk in the forest. It may be skiing down a mountaintop. We do not know. It may be jumping out of a plane from a parachute. It might be just the joyfulness of the playfulness of engaging in something, not because it is leading to anything or for anything, but the pleasure of it itself. So we just wanted to remind you of that, to play a little and to lighten up.
Lighten up. Can't send light unless you're light. Is that right?
Yes, exactly.
Oh.
And so, what is it you're wanting to talk about?
Well, thank you so much for all that, Raphael. Our next question is, you came into my mom the other night while she was sleeping and said that the new currency of the new earth will be love. And so, can you elaborate on that and talk more about what you mean? Will it actually be exchanged? What will the economy look like in the new earth if the currency is love?
You are very funny. The currency, we're not talking about necessarily the exchange in which you are thinking of. It is that as you hold love and the vibration of love and unconditional love in your heart, you are automatically operating in a band frequency that allows the projection of what becomes your reality to match that frequency. So ultimately, what you're all trying to do is to have what you think is a good life, right? So the frequency, or what you would call perhaps the word you were speaking of, the currency that allows you to have what you are wanting, right? Right now is what you would call dollars or gold or something in which you exchange that allows you to have goods or services, that allows you to be more comfortable, more at ease, and to feel a sense of peacefulness. And so you're seeking for that dollar or that thing to have all of those things that then becomes a house or a car or a service or whatever it may be, so that you feel a sense of peace. So what you're really seeking is peacefulness, a sense of happiness, a sense of contentment, a sense of satisfaction, of joy, of playfulness. You're looking for all of those things, and somehow how you're thinking that the currency of the dollar or the gold equals those things and gives that to you. And so you're trying always to bring that into your experience. But as the structures that have been built on the collective consciousness of the agreement of that was the structure that was put in place around value begin to fall and begin to collapse, in which they are doing, and they will do this over a period of time. This is not something in which you're going to wake up and it's instantaneously going to be completely gone. It is, you are in the process now of watching the dissembling of these structures and these institutions which you've collectively all created together, and they're going to reorganize themselves, and they're going to build upon themselves into something new that you will collectively agree upon. But it is that as the vibration of the planet and the collective human consciousness, which means a certain number of beings on the planet, raises their vibration where they're operating from their heart center above into these higher vibrational frequencies, and then even above that into the higher realms, that they begin to vibrate at a new octave, in a sense, a new frequency. And that new frequency becomes a projection or a mirror of the receiving out of that infinite space that we speak of nothingness, to allow you to drop into what we call the 0 point of the infinity symbol, into that space, to pull from there those similar vibrations to match as a reflection of your human daily life, your reality. And so your reality begins to become a reflection, and it already is a reflection of your vibration and of your frequency. But as the energy on the planet begins to speed up, in which it is occurring right now, and the shift begins to accelerate, which is occurring right now, and it begins to even have a momentum beyond what is occurring, and it gets more and more intensified, the ability, in a sense, for what you would think of in order to create or to manifest becomes faster and almost to the point of instantaneous, in which the thought pattern and the vibration combined together, moving into the infinite field of nothingness, begins to project your experience or reality very quickly. And many of you are already noticing that so far, that the things are happening faster, right? And so if, the new currency will be based on the thing that you are looking to get in the past at a currency, which was this beautiful experience of joy and bliss and contentment and satisfaction and playfulness and synchronicity and beauty and eventually enlightenment, in a sense, will not be based on the things that you can gather, but the frequency that you hold will automatically just vibrate at that octave that will allow that vibration, will allow that reality to just become your experience instantaneously. So it may be that you have a large bank account, but you're vibrating at a frequency of fear and survival. It won't really matter what the dollar amount is, because the reality will be reflecting in some form or another what it is that you are holding on a vibrational frequency in your heart. So the currency, in terms of value of what it is that you are seeking to receive or to achieve, will be based on how much love you are able to hold.
Well, thank you, Raphael. So as we're in this stage of transitioning our consciousness from a survival fear consciousness, what is the next stage of consciousness? What would you label that as? Is it creative consciousness that we're all moving into, and then we move to, love consciousness? Like, what would you call it, and what does that consciousness look like? Because a lot of people can't imagine what a world would look like where people don't need to focus on surviving and are operating out of fear in order to be in their own self-interest. What does humanity look like when everybody is holding a consciousness of being able to create what they want instantaneously, essentially, by holding a vibration?
It is a consciousness that is awake. It is a consciousness that is fully in remembering, in a conscious state of who it is that you are while still maintaining physical form. It is bringing in the consciousness in which, in a sense, I hold as the angel Raphael, and merging it with the consciousness of being in the five senses in a human body. It is bringing this together, and many of you call that waking up, because you're waking up and you're removing the veil to the remembering of your divinity, that you are the creator of everything and that everything is you. And we want to repeat that. You are waking up to the remembering that you are the creator of everything and that everything is you. And as you do that, you begin to operate and move through time and space with the understanding and the remembering that everything you see is a part of yourself, that everyone you look at is a reflection of who you are, because it is you, just in case in a different form. It is a fragmented part of yourself in a different body, but is a reflection of the whole, which is fragmented into these pieces, that is exploring and that is playing with the feeling of what you have labeled as being human and the human experience. And it flutters in and it flutters out. It comes in through the birth canal, and then the soul leaves the body and it dies, and that's what you call it, death, and it returns into the sea of the collective, and then it comes back and it moves in these waves in and out. But what's happened is that in this process, there has been this deep forgetting of the space in which you originated from and the space in which you will return to, which is unified, in which all the fragmented pieces emerge back together into a sea of oneness. It's just like, in a sense, the ocean, right? There's all these little droplets of rain, but when they all come together into the sea of the vastness of the ocean, there is no separation. So you've all been these little droplets for a long time. You've gotten very attached to your particular droplet. You've named your droplet. You think it has an identity, that you're a son or a mother or a daughter or whatever it may be, that you're an accountant or a chef, that you have this or you have that, and you identify with that droplet. But eventually it returns back to the ocean, and then it evaporates back out and it recycles, and it continues to do that. But what's happening now is that these droplets, in a sense, are beginning to come together. And as they begin to come together, what's happening is the film around them, in what we might call the outer layer or the membrane, even around a cell, is thinning. We often talk about it as the thinning of the veil. And as it thins, that's why you pick up on other people's, what you would think of as energy, or you're more tuned in, or you're more sensitive to places that you go or things that you do, because the space between the droplets and the protective mechanism around them is thinning as you're beginning to merge more together as one energy into that sea of what you call oneness, or is often referred to as unity consciousness. And from a place of unity consciousness, everything that you have chosen collectively to bring together that holds you in separation begins to collapse. So that's why governments will come at a point of collapsing, because they hold you in separation often. Even the way that you are educated will begin to dissolve and to change. The way that you identify and see each other as separate will dissolve. The idea that there are borders in countries that divide you, that the earth somehow has these different places that you call countries or even states, right? You notice it in your politics. You have red and blue. There's all this division that's happening right now. You label it as polarity. Well, the division is a grasping on to the individual aspect of wanting to hold on to your own droplet. No, that's my droplet. That's the way I think. That's who I am. That's how I identify myself as. I am this and I believe that. And so that is contracting right now because it's gripping on to wanting to hold more onto that sense of self. But it can't. So It's coming up to be looked at, to be seen, to be loved, to be honored, to recognize that there is no separation. There actually is no division. There are no borders. The earth is this magnificent, beautiful blue planet of sea of love, of magnificent creatures. And somehow you've decided that you draw a line and you say, this is mine and that is yours, and you are Russia and you are China and you are the United States, and we own the oil and you own the forests and I own the air and you own the corn. It's all quite ridiculous, right? How crazy is that? And that's something you've collectively all decided upon. Well, just as much as it's so ridiculous that there are borders and that there are things that are owned, even the fact that you think you own the land where your house is. You don't actually own the earth. You don't own your land. You don't own this house. You don't really own anything. This is a magnificent and beautiful planet that it happens to be your home right now, that you're residing on. But it is that all of you are here to enjoy the bounty and the harvest of the earth together in unity, rather than this identity of separation that some of you are better than others. Some of you look more important, or are prettier, or have more things, or have a better color you think of your skin, or an idea in your politics, or a way of thinking. There is no being on the planet with a breath that is any greater than any other, whether they are famous or they are sweeping in the greatest poverty on the planet. They are the same. And so what's happening is that division is surfacing for you to really look at that, to bring love in your heart, and to realize that you're not fighting against someone on another side with another opinion. They are not against you. You cannot be against them. Why can you not push against them? Because they are you. It's a very funny game you all play. And so what's happening is the game is coming to an end. And as it comes to an end, it might feel uncomfortable. It's uncomfortable because it's been ingrained in your matrix of the structure that you've created as your reality, as a collective consciousness, for a very long time. And so as you transition out of that, there will be those who hold on and grip to the power of it because they want to keep it that way. And there will be others that will just be part of the process of bringing it to the surface to be seen, so that all the hatred, the division, the polarity, the racism has to come up to be seen, that you are no better than anyone else, that they are you. And when that keeps coming, it will keep coming as long as it needs to, and you are actually the one that's bringing it to come in order for you to heal it. And when you heal it, you move into unity consciousness. And what does that look like, you ask? That looks like the droplets fall into the sea. That looks like oneness. That looks like a conscious awareness as you begin to still engage in the senses of being human and enjoying the humanness of life, also recognizing at the same time your divinity, your purity, your love, your oneness. So when I say that the new currency is love, love does not see division. Love cannot see it, because it is a frequency beyond division. It is a frequency of unity. And so that is where you are headed. Now, while you will choose collectively to create what that looks like in terms of the mechanics of what you call economics, that will play itself out, and you will all decide. So you are right now creating this new paradigm, this new earth, and you create it with your consciousness, which is created with love.
So if I'm getting this right, it's basically we need to lighten up and realize that we've just been playing this game in the sandbox, but not everybody's been having fun playing the game. So as we wake up and say, hey, everybody, it is just a game. Now we can play a new game That's kind of what we're doing, and that's how we move into oneness consciousness.
Yes, if you simplify it, you all decided that a stop sign means stop at the traffic light, right? You all agreed upon that for whatever reason. This red sign, it means stop. And so what's happened is you've agreed upon all these rules. And when you were born, you dropped into the matrix of what those things were, and whether you were even consciously taught them or not, you learned that, you understood that. Well, that's how we play the game here on Earth. And now the game is changing. So that's why you feel so unsteady, and no one can make plans for next week or a month from now, because all the rules of the game in which you've put in place and agreed upon are changing, and you're building a new game with new rules. And so it can be a bit confusing. But we want you to build the new rules and the new game, not based on instinct of fear or survival or the lower vibrations of division and polarity and separation, but based on love, connection, unity, playfulness, joy, bliss. And so you cannot build the new reality from a place of fear. So that's why we want to bring you all together and keep supporting you and moving into a higher frequency, so that when you're building the new earth, you're building it from a vibration that allows it to be built and to achieve something that you cannot perceive from the perspective and the place that you sit now. Just like when you open and surrender to life and the synchronicity, something comes in that you can't think of from the place of your desperateness that you are wanting to heal, shows up in your reality when you move above the desperateness and above the fear into a state of love and trust. And you open and you surrender, and you say, all right, I surrender to the highest good of whatever shall be. Something you can't think of with the mind start to collect together, come into your reality, vibrate in your frequency, and be the solution in which you couldn't see from where you were. That's why we always talk about meditation, because meditation is what allows you to at least get into the point of the nothingness, into the stillness, because it's from that place that you can rise above into the frequency needed to create this new reality.
And so as we want to wake everybody up to this game, and you talk about meditation, we've been thinking about doing a collective meditation on Thursday nights to help everybody wake up. And so could you speak a little bit on the power of what happens when we all collectively meditate with the intention of waking everybody up, and also talk a little bit about what we should do in that meditation and how it should be guided, or what should the intention be around it?
Well, part of it is that you are all the creators. You're the architects of your new reality. So you have to make the plans, right? You can't just say, oh, well, I just want it to appear. And while it's appearing, I'm going to be afraid over here and worry, and the world's falling apart. No. If you want to create a beautiful, magnificent building, and an architect comes in and you have a vision, and then after you have the vision, you start to put things in place, and you write it down, and you begin to bring in the contractors and the materials, and then you go out and you start to build it, and then it becomes form and matter, and then you can step into the building and you can enjoy it with all of your senses. But if you have no vision of what it's going to be, how can it even begin? Nothing that you can conceive of in this world exists without a vision. And so you must have a vision. It is very basic, right? So as you come together, you're not just building your own architectural little unit for yourself. You're building literally the matrix of the new earth, a new structure. Just like when the founding fathers of your country you live in now, they've come together, right? And they create a document, and they built something. And that worked for a long period of time. There was a lot to that was beautiful. And much of that is no longer playing itself out in the way it was intended. And so it's falling away. But you're coming together, not just a few men, but you're coming together in masses around the planet to collectively have a vision of what the earth will be like, what the new structure will look like, what it is you're wanting to create, and how it is most importantly an alignment and sustainable with the earth. You cannot create this vision in a vacuum separate as the human race and disregard Mother Earth, because she is your home. Just like you couldn't make plans as an architect to build a house if there was no land. That would be silly. Where would the house go? Up in the air. And so you have to have the earth. And you need to connect to the earth and hear the earth and move back into the indigenous ways of listening and honoring her. And then combine it with the consciousness of the collective to merge what she needs and what you are needing together to create this new reality, the new earth. And then many of you will begin to vibrate at a frequency with it, and it begins to literally build itself. And as it builds itself, it begins to form. And as it begins to form, it becomes a projection. And that projection becomes your experience, or what you would say, reality. And the new earth is born. So you are giving birth to this new form, but you must have a vision of what it looks like, what it's going to be. You must agree upon it and come together, just like you agreed that the red stop sign meant stop. When you're in your vehicle, you're going to have new agreements, new rules to the game. What does it look like? How does it work? Is everyone equal? Does everyone have what they are needing? Are you in a place of great creativity? Is there bountiful food? Is the earth being honored and sustained? Are you connecting with her? Is joy and music and art valued? Where are you choosing to put your energy? So, yes, all across the planet right now, groups are gathering in what we call on grid points all over the earth. And they are gathering as groups of light to have a vision of the new earth. And to begin to form and to create it from a vibration of love as to what they are seeing to unfold. And as groups in large masses gather all over the planet together, whether it be physically together, what you call in cyberspace, with the same intent or vision and consciousness, directed their energy in alignment with the vibration of love toward unity, it exponentially speeds up this process and also allows the transition of the falling away of the old and the birthing into the new to happen with more ease, more flow, more grace for all of you. And so we highly recommend doing that. And we are more than happy, for it is our job from the angelic realm to support you all in that.
Well, thank you, Archangel Raphael. We'll be having Thursday night meditations. I hope you'll join us. And
You are very funny.
we'll be creating a new vision. And also, just on the topic, we want to do lots of healing, but as we visualize, are we healing just by visualizing the new earth?
Yes, wherever you put your attention grows, right? Very basic idea. You know that. All of you know that. Wherever you put your attention, it grows. So if you put your attention on what's going wrong all of the time, everything in your life is going to keep going wrong. And so as you gather in masses of putting your attention to what's going right, in playfulness, in joy, in laughter, in lightness, toward the creation of a vision of unity for all, in alignment with the connection of the earth, then what do you think is going to happen?
I think we know what we got to do, right?
Yes.
We know now. So
Yes.
Thank you so much for this wonderful talk.
Little reminder. That's all it is. It's a little whisper in all of your ears to remind you that it's divinely perfect, as are you. And even those things in which you label as bad or stressful or even death, even the thing that's what you think is the worst thing of all, it's really not a big deal. Because you just merge back into the sea and then you come back as a new droplet. You are infinite. And when you leave your body, the love and the light that you return to is beyond the words that I can say in this language through this body. Beyond what you know. So there is nothing to fear. You are an infinite being of divine light. So why not lighten up and enjoy the ride? Many blessings and good day.
Good day. Thank you so much, Mama.
Okay. My pleasure.